A few weeks ago, I was revisiting a game called Scene. It's an interactive story game about two high schoolers becoming friends and potential love interests. The main objective sees you playing as one of the high schoolers, engaging in text, picking the right dialogue options to win your crush over. I replayed this game 3 times with the intention of getting all of the possible outcomes in the story and eventually getting a review on the game. After a few attempts and frustratingly getting nowhere near a new storyline, I decided to scrap the review. But it did get me thinking a bit more about interactive story games in general and how they're fundamentally flawed. Before we get into it, let's talk a bit about what interactive story games are. Interactive story games are a genre of games that do not have a predetermined ending. The story of the game changes based on the player's choices. To understand more about this genre, let's take a look at one of its most popular entries, Telltale's The Walking Dead. Telltale's The Walking Dead tells the story of survivors in a zombie apocalypse. Some band together and face the challenges head-on, while others become selfish and corrupted as society crumbles. For the purpose of this video, I'll be focusing on Season 1 of The Walking Dead. Season 1 of The Walking Dead is often praised for its emotional story and introducing a likable cast of characters, most notably Lee and Clementine. For the entirety of Season 1, you play as Lee, where you grow as a leader to a group of survivors and a father figure to Clementine, whose parents have gone missing. The general gameplay loop has you talking to other characters through different dialogue options, shooting zombie heads, and making big decisions that will affect the story of the game. Or will they? Well, the short answer is not really. Apart from a few dialogue changes from select characters and slight deviations in the story route, your decisions don't really do much to affect the narrative. In fact, the deviations in the story route always eventually lead to the same outcome. For example, let's say a group has been cornered by a horde of zombies, or walkers as they're called in this series. You're faced with a difficult decision of saving one of two equally valuable allies, Ally A and Ally B. Let's say you chose Ally B. Ally B will most likely stay around and get killed later on as well, or leave the group. Same thing occurs if you chose Ally A. This is generally the extent of the consequences of your actions. The players who chose Ally A and the players who chose Ally B will both be put on the same track, the only track. This means that your choices don't really matter, and this effect is most apparent in the ending of Season 1. If you don't want this game to be spoiled, then please do skip to the next chapter. In Episode 4, Lee gets bitten by a walker. You will have the choice of having Lee amputated or leaving the bite. The player can try anything, but there is no way to prevent the bite or cure Lee. He is bound to become a walker by the end of Episode 5, where Clementine spends her last moments with him before he turns. The player has to ask Clementine to either leave Lee or shoot him. This ending cannot be prevented in any way, and this inevitability, in my opinion, hurts subsequent playthroughs of this game, because there's nothing new to look forward to. The ending is the same, and there's no point in replaying a whole game just for the sake of 2 or 3 different lines of dialogue. Most choice-based games end up being like this. It's a complete contradiction to what interactive stories are meant to be. But what if your choices really did matter? What if there was a game with multiple unique diverging story paths? Well, that game is Detroit Become Human.
How do I know you're not a deviant?
They are not machines!
I could take you there.
It's too late, Karen! Go! Save Alice!
My name is Kara.
My name is Connor.
My name is Marcus.
This is our story.
Detroit Become Human is a game developed by Quantic Dreams set in the year 2038, when androids have become a common part of everyday life. The rise of sentient androids, dubbed as deviants, causes a civil war between humans and androids. In this game, we play as 3 androids. Connor, who is tasked with investigating the rise of deviants.
My name is Connor. I'm the android sent by CyberLife.
Marcus, a domestic android owned by famous Detroit painter Carl Manfred.
That's what I call a thorough beating. It's not easy for an old man to compete with a machine.
Well, I know you don't like losing, and you don't like when I let you win, so I felt I didn't have many choices.
True. We humans are complicated.
And Kara, an android who becomes a mother figure to a little girl, Alice.
You'll never leave me, right? Promise you'll never go.
I promise.
Will we be together forever?
Forever.
Through these characters, we get to see the deviant uprising from different perspectives. Similar to The Walking Dead, you get to make choices as each of the characters, but this time, your choices truly matter. This game is separated into multiple chapters. The premise of each subsequent chapter is determined by the outcome of the previous one. At the end of each chapter, you are shown a flowchart of every possible outcome and what you missed. There are multiple endings to every chapter up until the very end of the game. You can even kill off all 3 characters and it's a valid ending, whereas in other games, if you kill off your characters, you'll just end up with a game over screen. What Quantic Dreams have achieved with this game is something truly remarkable. However, the game suffers from really bad writing. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I know everything there is about how to write a good story. But what I will do is link this video about how Detroit's writing fails. It was a really helpful reference for me while I was writing this video, so I highly recommend that you watch it if you're a fan of Detroit. Anyway, in summary, the game's narrative lacks nuance and feels really contrived. I think with the increase in volume of player decisions the writers had to juggle, the quality of each route dipped. Quantity over quality, if you will. I really think that there was potential to make a good story. The game nailed the dynamic between Connor and his partner Hank.
Come on, let's get out of here. Seen enough vegetables for one day.
That shouldn't have happened. I wasn't programmed to fail.
Oh, well, you fucked up, Connor. Welcome to the club.
It looks drop dead gorgeous and the actors gave good performances. While fitting the definition of interactive story, this game fails at having a good story in the first place. On one hand, we have a game that successfully told a good story but failed in making your choices important. On the other hand, we have a game that took your choices into account but delivered an underdeveloped story. It's easy to say that game devs should just make a game with only a few possible routes and a good story, but is that truly feasible? I'm not a writer, but I think writing any story that splits into multiple stories is a difficult task in any capacity. Not to mention, the budget needed to hire talent for these games, to have them record hundreds of pages worth of lines and do motion capture, the effort they have to put into giving appropriate portrayals of different versions of their character, it's a massive undertaking. It's no wonder that most choice-based games choose to focus on one story instead, and the one modern game that has attempted to make multiple routes has failed to deliver an all-around good package. With that being said, does this mean that interactive story games are destined to fail? Well, I think so. But that doesn't mean that people won't enjoy them. The Walking Dead series was a massive success for Telltale. The fact that so many people remember and were touched by the ending of Season 1 is a testament to the game's impact on the gaming community. Telltale even went on to make more interactive stories like The Wolf Among Us and Batman. Other game developers have also attempted to make interactive stories of their own, such as Donut Entertainment, who made Life is Strange. The real reason people play these games is for the immersion. Being able to walk around as the main character and having control over their actions is something you won't find in other storytelling mediums. Watching a story unfold from this unique perspective means that your emotions are elevated. Your frustration with an unlikable character, or the sadness you feel when your favorite character gets killed, or the relief when they get to make it out alive. It all becomes stronger because you feel like you're right there with them. The way interactive story games are being made right now means that they failed to deliver on the promise of interactivity. But that doesn't mean they can't be enjoyed. They bring narrative experiences that immerse us into a world with people who will react to our decisions. We feel like we have an effect on them, even if for a little while. If you have to take anything away from this video, it will be that games and other forms of entertainment don't have to be perfect. They can have the most ridiculous flaws and you're still allowed to like them. With that being said, whatever game developers and publishers decide to do with this genre, whether it's one story route or 100 story routes, whether your choices hold any weight or not, I'm excited to see what the future has in store for it.
Let's go. Stay close to me.
Hi, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was mostly just me giving my thoughts about this game genre, but I'm not the most well-read or well-versed in video games in general. But I thought that this was an interesting topic to talk about. I also want to verbally thank those who gave positive comments, whether it was on YouTube or privately, about my short film. The film means a lot to me, and it was my first time doing a project this big, so I hope I can do better next time. This YouTube channel isn't really meant to be like a full-time thing. It was mostly just for me to experiment and learn a bit more about editing, the video making process. So to see that my friends enjoy this is really encouraging, and I might continue to do this. I don't know. Anyway, that's the end of this video. See you later. Bye.